Passion our purpose, profit our pain. I don't want my name to ever be in vain. A life full of substance is the only thing that will remain the same. Millennial Thoughts. Hi, with your girl, Alicia. Today I have a special guest on the episode with me. Her name is Tanya, and we're going to be talking about thriving as our authentic self. And y'all know we are in quarantine, and so also talking about online networking. I know I've talked about it a couple times before. How like everybody that I meet and everybody who's on my podcast is not necessarily in Kentucky. So where are you located at actually?
I'm in Texas.
Texas. Yes.
Yes.
See, so y'all hear that? Texas. And so just speaking on that too, like these are one thing that I feel like is really good in podcasting is you can connect with so many people like Texas. The last person I had was in Georgia, and I have Florida and stuff like that. I even have people in London, and I have
Yeah,
another one coming up. So
that's
that's
what's
cool.
up.
Um, but yeah, so we're just gonna be talking, chatting with y'all today. But I really wanted to put that in y'all's minds to think about networking online. We don't know how much longer we're gonna be in quarantine. Honestly, they say 3 months, month. We don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
We just out here.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but I would like to introduce y'all to Tanya, and I'll let her introduce herself a little bit more.
Absolutely. So,
So yeah.
hey, Alicia, and hey to the Millennial Thought family. As she mentioned, my name is Tanya J. Miller, Tanya of Talking with Tanya. And basically, I'm an author, speaker, coach, strategist. I help you to figure out how to fit the puzzle pieces of life together so you can do life right and you can do it well. And I do that basically so you can do life and leadership unapologetically on purpose. So, I'm excited to dig into the conversation. I'm excited to hear what we have going. And I will also echo the same sentiment that Alicia had as well. Like, sometimes your for no more won't take you and your purpose for where it's trying to go. So you have to expand beyond it. And you have to really reach out to like minded individuals, not even necessarily doing the same thing, but like minded and wanted to pursue purpose and to go after it and to be unashamed about it. So that's what I did. That's what I'm sure Alicia does. And that's what we're suggesting that you guys do because literally it can be a whole game changer. And if you take this time to pivot in whatever it is you're doing and pivot to opportunities that, are beyond your normal, you can do extraordinary things. So that was my little plug too, to also echo.
Yeah. Yes, I'm cracking up. That's so funny because the last person we talked about leadership too, and just finding that leadership. It was a different type of leadership, but I know that you're like an author
Mm-hmm.
and you speak about different things, and we do talk about like purpose and passion and stuff like that. And so I just wanted to say, I guess a little bit about yourself. Like we know who you are, we know what you do now, but like, how did you get to the point where you were at now to be able to have the talking with Tanya?
So it's very old. I'm actually probably much older than y'all would think I am, but apparently I'm still in the millennial number. I'm in that number, so I don't know how.
Yes, that's all the number.
I'm in that number, but yeah, I'm at the other end though. So, but I've actually had Taco Tanya for about 15 years. It started out as literally a part of a nonprofit that I had where I was trying to just keep in contact with the individuals that were a part of it, the mentorships, because that's what the base of it was mentorship programs. And so, I wanted to keep in contact with everyone that had connected with us and so I just started sending an email out. Yes, y'all, we had emails, we had dial-up internet back then. So yeah, I was trying to keep in contact and I just wanted to provide motivation and inspiration and encouragement for wherever they were at and whatever they had going on. And so literally people were like, Tanya, like I feel like you right here with me. Like I feel like you know what's going on. You talking to me. And so I was like, okay, talking with Tanya. All right, let's do this. And so,
Mm-hmm.
rest is history. I've dissolved my nonprofit, but I kept the talking with Tanya piece
Oh,
about it. I mean, I still a lot of what I did in the nonprofit around mentorship and frameworks and that leadership standpoint and even I had a business at that time. A lot of that, I pulled that into what I do now in my business, Tanya J. Miller LLC. So I pulled the best of what I was doing and added it to this. So it's still being done. It's still, a piece of my heart and what I do. But yeah, like literally, as technology evolved and changed, I went with the ebbs and flows, and Taco Taya is still there
Mhm.
now, but still doing what I do to help people figure it out, put the puzzle pieces together for wherever they're at in life. So that's,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah,
I didn't even know you even had a nonprofit before.
yeah. I mean,
That's one of the things
yeah,
I'm
I mean,
working
it's a
on.
part of my heart, and I still, like I said, I still do it, and that's even why, like, I do the organizational leadership and strategies
Hmm.
to help, nonprofits and organizations a lot of times to help build out their mentorship framework. So I still
Hmm.
do a little bit of what I love in each aspect. So
Right, I might need to talk to you after the conversation too, because I want to do a nonprofit like mentorship too. But
okay, all
I'm
right.
definitely gonna wait a couple. I'm gonna wait a little bit till I get more established, but I still want to be able, to have that the
It never
background and the
hurts to
knowledge and the
start
stuff
talking
together.
about it and thinking about it and
Hmm.
stuff. Put at least writing the vision
Yeah.
and making it plain. So we're good. Absolutely.
Yes, that is so crazy. But even speaking on that, like, so people who do want to even do nonprofits, I want to do. I know you went, so you went from like nonprofit to the profit, and you are helping people. Do you think that this is always something that you wanted to do, like when you were younger, or is this something that you feel like you just kind of fell into?
The thing I think about it is, who you are is always evolving, but what you are supposed to do never changes. And so, I may have started out, with the nonprofit and even the business, but at the core, it was still me helping people about purpose. It's literally, I was talking to businesses and nonprofits, and I was talking to them about what their purpose was, what they were trying to do, and what they were trying to accomplish. And help people, with their products or their services. And so, I think as I look back, it was literally me evolving over time. Like I had
Mm-hmm.
as an author, I remember, writing, a book with my friend in sixth grade. And then I remember, us writing a book as a project, in fourth and fifth grade. I remember writing plays for my church. I remember, you know, being the one that would sometimes get the awards for writing. So I look back and I see how each of the elements and things that I do now were a part of who I was. I just maybe didn't know how it was all going to be put together. And so the same thing like with speaking, like I literally was doing public speaking at 3 and 4 years old, in front of at least, 20, 50, 100 people, so a lot of just training was done, a lot of coaching and mentoring was done. And so it was a part of who I was, and I just evolved into kind of seeing how it was supposed to be all together for where I'm at now. But definitely, it's been a part of what I've been doing for a very long time.
Okay, well that's good. So you kind of knew. I like that you were like, it's like you always know what you do, but you just don't know like how you're going to do it.
Hmm.
I really like that you said that. And I know you talked about a little bit about purpose. I do want to go to saying like, how do you think people can find their purpose? But also, I wanted to dive into, because I know you said that you wrote a book and you were like writing and stuff like that. So, what is your book about? The one that you, is that the one that you were talking about that you were writing? Like, I mean, that you already wrote.
Um,
What is that book about?
I'm not sure because there's three out, so I'm gonna go with maybe the first one. I don't remember what we talked about.
Yeah, I was like, which one were you talking
I don't remember. But the first
about?
book, the project, and I'll just bring that one up because literally, if it's befitting for what is going on with all this pandemic, crisis, epidemic, corona, COVID, whatever you want to call it, that Roni, it definitely
Mhm.
is one that kind of reminds me of hard times that I was in before. It's called Mind Matters, and it's a book and a journal, but it talks to you about getting out of your head and jumping back into life because we all can get stuck. We can all go through hard times. We can all go through trying times, mental challenge, health challenges, just loss, trauma. And so I talk to you in the book about how to, figure out how to get out of that place of stuckness and isolation. And, even if it's depression, like I talked to you about, getting out of your head and reminding you that you got a life, you got a purpose, you got an assignment. And so I talked to you about that in the book, and in a journal, I give you some work. Basically, because I'm gonna put you to work. So I'm gonna really start to ask you those questions that you don't want to ask yourself and you don't want to answer. But if you want to get unstuck, you got to start answering the questions. You got to start doing the work to get back and be a part of this life. And so, like I said, right now, we could easily, in week 3, week 4, like you said, maybe 3 months, we could easily, start feeling stuck. We could easily start feeling, overwhelmed and anxious. And then if there's already any undercurrents of, mental challenges and illnesses there, they can creep back up on you real easy. And so, definitely, I want to help you to get unstuck. I want to help you to make sure you don't get in your own head. I want to remind you that you got a purpose and a whole life, and to be a source, as I know you're a source as well, to encourage people and to help them, because, we all go through stuff. And so if I can be
Mhm.
a person, you can be a person, somebody else, can remind you, hey, we can get through this. We may not have seen this before, but we've seen something before. And so we're gonna make it. We'll get through it, no matter what the problems may be, because we all are affected by it differently. Some of us are just affected by it emotionally, some are affected by it financially, some are affected by it
Mhm.
physically, but we have to remember to stay resilient, to stay positive, and to stay consistent in being intentional, to not allow the opportunity to take for this opportunity to take us out. So that's what I talk about in the book, Mind Matters. I'm even kind of doing 7 days of even just, mind matters, and just even, points of reflection, action steps, little quick videos as well. Just like I said, right now, we all need to be reminded of it. So I wanted to just do what I can to help.
Yes, that was really good. I definitely can understand, and I can see where it is affecting different people, and just trying
Hmm.
to figure out what to do, what to go next, and stuff like that. And I think even me too. It's like, okay, now we're trying to figure out what to do, what can go on, and so many people are affected by it. Shoot, they could be affected by it all three: financially, emotionally, and there
Yes,
was one more you said. I think you said one more. I forgot. Financially, emotionally, and then you said
physically,
something. So
physically, you could
physically,
be actually be
physically, yeah.
sick. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. You could definitely be sick, and so just thinking about it and wanting to like use this time to not to like negate it, but just wanting to use this time to even think about. I know you talk about purpose and your passion or whatever, just like getting to know who you are, because we really don't know how long we might be to end of May. We might be able to get out, but regardless, it's always self development. I think that's really important,
Hmm.
and so just thinking about like what can we do now so we can even get ready when we go back out. And so, what can we be working on ourselves right now? Can we be trying to figure out what our passion is, or trying to figure out what our purpose is, or trying to just do something because we want to learn more? And sometimes I feel like it's hard for people to know what their purpose is, even though they're
Hmm.
passionate about something. But even now, for people
Mm.
who aren't working,
Hmm.
some people can't work. So just like thinking and just trying to give them other things that they can do. Maybe if that's a book that they can read. I mean, maybe that's even going to YouTube. Maybe if that's even them writing. Because I know I like to write, and I feel like that's something that I like to do. I haven't
Hmm.
been able to do it that much because I just create so much content that I really don't get the time to write as much as I wish I could.
Hmm.
But like even just like doing a journal, doing
Yes.
a blog, or just like watching something, just to like get them amped up, because it's like this time you can get so down that you just feel like you don't even have nothing to give out. you
Absolutely.
you feel like you can't even create content or can't even write something, or just like you don't work, like you're not working. And I think so much is tied into like your value is like you working somewhere.
Hmm. Yeah,
And it's like
definitely.
your value comes from who you are and what you have. And so I think in this time, if you're not working, or even if you are working or you're not working as much, just think about like think about your values and think about what you value in yourself and how you can bring that out, because this could be bad for some people, this could be good for some people. I don't know what spectrum people are on, but say that you found something that you're passionate about and you're like, okay, I'm going to use this time to learn. Like I know me, I'm using this time to educate myself on anything and everything that I can,
Hmm.
anything and everything thing. And so I want to be able to use this to come out. But some people who are working, maybe like essential healthcare workers, like they can't really do this. But even just trying to like get some time if they get a day off just to like relax, or just like write how they're doing, write what they're thinking, how they're in this pandemic. Because I don't even think people even thought that we could even be here right now in America.
Oh yeah.
At least I never thought that.
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
mean, we never, that's the whole thing about the unexpected and unplanned. You never can know it's coming, but when
mhm,
it does come, we have to find a way to shift and to pivot and to find
mhm,
the good so that it will outweigh the bad. And so, you had mentioned, a person can be passionate about something, but they don't necessarily know what their purpose is. And that's literally, what I talk about when I talk about purpose. Like passion is like the first step. Like that's the ignition. Like that's the fire. That's the igniter. And so at least if you can figure out what you're passionate about, that lets you know what's in you. That gives you an idea of what's in you, and what's in you. From there, using that will give you an idea to know I'm passionate about this, but am I tied to this? Is this something that is this my why? Is this something that I know that I'm supposed to do? I'm tied to do because, a dream can be a dream. Like you could be good at, and have a passion to want to learn how to play basketball. You have a whole passion to play basketball, but the reality is when you get that ball in your hand,
mhm.
you can't even play
Can't
horse.
even dribble.
You can't even play horse, so you end up might needing to be, you like basketball, but you might need to be a sports therapist for basketball players, or you might need to be a person that, is a broadcaster, or you might need to be a coach. Some people are coaches, but they can't play, so you
Mhm,
have to figure out a way, and that's how you get to your purpose. You look at what you are passionate about, but then you look at what's in you, and what you're good at, but not just what you're good at, what you're called to, and what's the thing that is your why, and that you can do, that can't nobody else do it like you. You know what I'm saying? And so
mhm.
that's what, if you're looking to answer that question in the midst of all this, definitely, get still for a minute. Like you might be in, get still, for a second, and really start to look at the things you're passionate about and how they tie to the things you've done in life, how they tie to past jobs, how they tie to how, you might have had this one job, but every time you do this, every time you have that job, you end up getting pulled in another direction. That might be what you actually are called to. That might be what your purpose is. And so start evaluating. Like you said, take some of the classes, if you're trying to uncover it, because purpose is already there, It's everybody asks me, Tanya, what's my purpose? I'm like, well, first of all, it's not Where's Waldo. It's not like you need to get a map and an atlas and try and find. No, it's in you already. It was what was in you from jump. You just may have to uncover. You may have to tap into it. You may have to, to say, hey, I'm ready now, because sometimes you're not ready to do purpose. And so,
Mhm.
if you're ready now, let's do the work. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do the work, and let's begin to find that thing that was been in us all the time. Let's rediscover it, because it's a great time right now to rediscover your
Mhm.
purpose. So yeah, get still enough to do the work, and you will find it, and you will uncover what's been there all along, for sure.
What about the people who feel like they have like so many passions and that they can't find their purpose or they can't figure out? What would you say to them?
So I'll tell you like this, because prime example, when you introduced me, you said I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, I'm a strategist. But there's one thing that ties me. That one thing is to help people figure out how to fit the puzzle pieces together so that they can do life right and they can do it well. That thing that ties me is that I'm trying to help you to do life and leadership unapologetically on purpose. So I may do that in different avenues. I may help you to do life and leadership unapologetically through the books that you read that I write. as an author. Or I may help
Mhm.
you to do that because you heard me on a podcast interview, or you saw me speak at an event, or you
Mhm.
saw my YouTube channel. You saw
Mhm.
me speaking, but I still was
Mhm.
on purpose. I still was doing my purpose. But at the same time, then you may catch me, in a leadership session or in a life coaching session, but whatever the product or service I provide or the
It's
gift
still
is
on that
still
core
the same.
value.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly. So
and
you can be a person that you are a creative artist, but you can do that in because you have the gifts and talents of doing artistry as a painter, as a sculptor, as a
mhm,
singer, but at the end of the day, you are still assigned to be a creative artist because the arts flow through you. You could be on stage, you know what I'm saying? And so
mhm,
you don't have to look at it as limiting in the product or service that you provide. It's what is
mhm.
it that ties you?
See,
What is at the core of who you are? And what is the why? The why can
and
come
I
through
think
in different ways.
yeah, sorry. And so that's what my next question was going to be like. So, what do you feel about people saying like get good at one thing and do it and stuff like that? Because me, when I'm thinking about this in this conversation, I'm passionate about a lot of things and I use different platforms to do stuff. I don't know. So, if you know, but I have like a blog, I have a YouTube channel too. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's like me, like I like to be a resource to people. I like to help people in that way. I like to provide resources to people to connect people together. And that, like, that's what I like. That's what I like to do. This podcast is literally connecting you to other people too, you know what I'm saying? Every time
Mm-hmm.
I do an interview, I'm telling people, okay, check this person out. Okay, look what this person is saying. And so even on my YouTube channel, I'm like, I'm giving resources about travel. Like that's what I do. And so I think hearing is like, okay, is that my purpose? Or I don't know if that's my purpose. Or I might think it's my purpose. But even then, people are like, well, you have to get good at one thing. You have to get good at this thing. Or like, you have to do this and then go on, which I can understand maybe in the business spectrum. But when I hear, but then when people are saying it, they're like, you have to get good at one thing. But like, why can't I do a podcast, blog, and YouTube channel? It's going to be a lot, but that's on me. And I'm using my blog to talk about travel. I'm using my blog to talk about adulting. And that's what I'm using my podcast for and my YouTube. But that's what I talk about. And so I just think it's kind of like, I don't know if it's like frustrating or whatever, but like how you're saying that your purpose is to help life and leadership, but you can use it on a plethora of platforms, a book of this, a book of podcast, a speaking engagement, whatever. And so I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes people try to box other people in, like, oh, you should do it, like, you should just get good at this, or like, oh, you should do this way or whatever. But it's like, why can I do all different platforms? I just wanted to hear your
I
insight on
mean,
that.
well, that's so I definitely hear when people say that, but I also know that there's a thing that you need multiple streams of income as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's like basically saying, oh, you only need to have one stream of income and that's all you need to do, and that should be enough. If that was enough, then some people wouldn't be going broke right now because they only had one stream. So, I think, to answer your question, it goes back to the same thing I was telling you. It's not that the blog is your purpose. It's not that the podcast is your purpose. It's not that the YouTube channel is your purpose. Your purpose, to me, from listening to you, is tied to being a resource and connector of people and in industries and passions. Like you are
Mm-hmm.
literally a great connector, whether it's with resources, whether it's with people, whether it's with information. You are a great connector. And so that's who, to me, I'm not trying to quote you, but to me,
Yeah.
from listening to you, that's what it sounds like you are and what you do, and that's your why. And so it may come through in your providing connections and resources, in your travel plans and thoughts and information. It may come through in your podcast in bringing people and their information and their knowledge and expertise, and you're connecting them to your audience and your tribe. Or it may come through with your blog where you're just talking about adulting and helping people out and to figure out life. But to me, your
Mm-hmm.
purpose and your why is tied to being a connector of people, information, and resources. And you sound like you're doing real good at it. So I hear that statement that people
Mm-hmm.
say, but that's, if anything, that's what you're good at. That's your one thing you become good at, is being a connector, and you're doing it through multiple avenues and
Mm-hmm.
streams and ways of reaching people. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. We're
Mm-hmm.
multifaceted people for a reason, and that's
Mm-hmm.
just how I look at it.
Yeah, and so when you were talking about that too, and I was like, oh, something I love to do, what I love to do, like I love community. I love like when you were talking about working earlier, where I was like, I've always worked with kids technically, but I feel like I'm pigeonholed. I don't really necessarily want to work with kids, but I like the community involvement. I like helping. I like mentoring. You know, I was talking about I want to have a nonprofit and stuff like that.
Hmm.
That's even mentorship is resources to
Yep.
me. You know, that's helping. So like that's what I want to do. Like I want to be a mentor. I want to be able to provide resources. And so I think it's so frustrating. And I'm like, y'all, I'm giving y'all free content right now because the minute I charge, y'all are gonna be looking at me like, what? Your stuff is so expensive. Da, da, da. Well, I'm giving it to y'all free, and y'all talking this, y'all talking that. Or somebody's like, yeah, good at one, get good at one, do this or whatever. But nobody's seeing you like, well, me, nobody's seen me like searching YouTube. Nobody see me watching YouTube, you know. So it's like coming from a blink of an eye. I had a blog when I was in undergrad. Nobody probably really seen that blog. I mean, I posted it that much or whatever, but nobody's seen that. Nobody probably known that I listen to podcasts and stuff like that. So it's like people really don't see too much of what you've done to be putting it out there. Which I mean, I'm not saying everybody is saying something, but a lot of people do be like, oh, well, yeah, get good at one, good at one thing. And I'm like, well, what does that even mean? Get good at one thing, because that's true. That one thing that can lead to a job, and that job can fail you. That you might need one more stream of income, and so I just think that is so important to even know your purpose and know your why. And I think I struggled with it like in grad school or whatever, because I was like, yeah, I was just like, I'm not feeling this. Like, this is not me. Like, I don't really feel like this is what I want to do. Like, I went to get my master's in education or whatever, and I was like, yeah, I don't really know about this. And I was just like struggling. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna just have to try to figure out my purpose. But now I guess I'm not really focused on my purpose as much, but I'm like, what am I passionate about? Okay, I like to write. Okay, I like to do this. I like to show experience, you know? So it's just like all a trial and error in my age group and stuff like that. Like with millennials, the young people, the older people, whatever. And I just feel like trying to figure out your passion is kind of easy, but that vision, like I'm very vision oriented and knowing what I want. But I feel like sometimes people get confused about the purpose or their vision. And I feel like sometimes people can get caught up into it and it's so overwhelming that they don't even know what to do.
And I would just say, breathe. You have the opportunity to uncover who you are. And as you uncover it, you can literally see if it's you. The thing that I think sometimes we don't give ourselves an opportunity and chances to fail. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to try. My mother would always say, nothing beats a failure but a try. It will not hurt you if you try it out. You might try it out and like it, and you might try it out and you don't. But if you never
Mm-hmm.
try it out, then you will never know. And so, as you begin to think about the things you're passionate about, try them out. See if it's you. And if it's not you, see if it's not something that you can sustain, see if parts of it and elements of it are, look at it like that. See what parts and elements of it you did like, what you did enjoy, what you can, bring to what you can bring to the next thing that you try, or that can even help you to tailor what you should try next. Like, don't beat yourself up for trying. I think you should try that. I think you should see if it makes sense, see if it is you, because you'll never know if you don't. And so, that's a part of the journey called life. Like I said, my mama said it, nothing beats a failure but a try. Like, you have to try to know if that's what you're called to, what you're assigned to, because if nothing else, you'll like you said, complete a whole track, go all the way through school, do all of this, and then end up, trying to be a doctor and you scared of blood. Like, wait, hold on.
He's gonna
I'm
blood.
scared of blood. Oh my, wait,
Mm-hmm.
I can't be a doctor. But that's how
Mm-mm.
some people do life. And you shouldn't, like, you should be, and that's the thing, what I love about mentorship. You should be, getting the opportunity. Once you start thinking about it and you get a passion about it, you need to start seeing it. Hey, can you go volunteer? Can you talk to
Mm-hmm.
somebody that's a doctor? Can you go do some ride alongs in the EMT? Like, you need to be looking on some YouTube channels. You need to be
Mm-hmm.
seeing if you'll be able to study for all them classes and all them tests and biology and like, you need to see if you can handle the weight of what you're passionate about, because if you can't, that's how you know that's not your purpose. If you can't carry it,
Mm-hmm.
if you can't handle it, if you can't do it in good and bad times, if you can't, you know continue to know that that's what you're supposed to do, even when you don't see a way clear, even when it doesn't look like it, even when you don't have the resources, even when you don't have the support, that's how you know what you're passionate about is not your purpose. You understand? Like that's how you know. That's how you can keep going. And so that's why I said no, it's not necessarily a product or a service. It's that it's your why. And your why
Mhm.
produces products, it produces services, it produces opportunity, it produces experiences. You know what I mean?
Yes, I definitely do know what you mean. Hopefully, y'all know what she means too. Hopefully, y'all are taking this all in because this is really good, actually. And I do see people saying like, "Yeah, like, what's your why? Know your why." But yeah, everything going on. It's like knowing my why and knowing my purpose, but trying to get to that with
Hmm.
also maybe working a 9 to 5, or maybe they have kids, or maybe they're
Hmm.
in school. So like, how do you feel like people can figure out that balance in what they
I'll
do?
be honest, it probably won't be easy. It probably won't even look like balance because, when people think of balance, they think it's even, they think it's fair. Nope, it's not. So let me make it plain. It won't. Don't think that it's fair. It's gonna be just like the balance the one you see with the Lady Justice. They not the same. They not equal. It's not fair. So let me make that plain.
I see what
It
you're
will not
saying.
be fair. So when I say that trying to do it and trying to find balance won't be fair, what I mean is somebody won't get you. Somebody won't. If you're a parent and you have kids, if you trying to go back to school, if you're trying to start that business, that means somebody won't get some of what you need if you trying to work on it right then, work on something right then. Somebody is going to lack, and it's the thing is to make sure if you have to pull away, if you have to go to class, if you have to do an online class, online training, if you have to go to class on Mondays, that you communicate as much as you can the sacrifice, and in with their young, make sure you giving them hugs and love, and mommy will be back or whatever, daddy will be back. But it's not going to be fair. Somebody is going to lack at something. If you're if you're a spouse, if you're a child, and you got parents and you got responsibilities, you got friends. Listen, homegirl not gonna be able to be at every birthday party turn up. It's just not gonna be. He's not gonna be able to be at the barbershop for 3 hours on a Saturday. He got stuff to do. He got to go. He got a whole business that he work on Saturday because that's his only days he get to work because Monday through Friday he doing his regular job, and Saturdays when he able to run his business. Like you just have to know that it won't be fair. It won't be a balance. Somebody is not going to be happy every now and then. Somebody is not going to like that you have to pull away. Somebody is not going to appreciate that you have to decline their invitation, but you have to communicate as well. Communicate and show up and show up. And when you can show up. Like literally when
Mhm.
you are able to be there, make sure you're all the way there. Put your phone down, unless you're taking pictures, video and the birthday cakes, but be intentional about showing up when you are there so that they'll know
Mhm.
the sacrifices that you are making to be there and to be present.
Yo,
So no, it won't
mhm.
be balanced. It won't be fair, but you
That
have to
is.
be able to show up and be intentional about how you show up when you are there.
I would say that's a really good word, like being intentional in anything, like being intentional even when you're so balance isn't fair. Being intentional when you are doing your stuff. So making sure like you give your time to what you need. Like if you go into it being intentional and you have something that you're working on, I think that shows too. And communication is really good too because some people don't communicate, some people don't understand, some people don't know. So if they're not in school, if they don't have the same goal as you technically, they're just like, oh, what's she doing? Like, I don't know what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like this is whatever. And so I feel like that sometimes can show too. And it's like, well, you don't know if they care. You don't know what they're saying. You don't even, because they don't know what you're doing. So being intentional with the conversations, like, okay, hey, I'm working on this. This is what I'm doing. And then being intentional when it comes to your time too. So how you
Yes.
were saying that you can't make it here, you can't do this and stuff like that. And so I think the biggest thing is like communication and just having like open communication with people, because it is true, like people do try to be superwoman, like you can't go here, you can't do this, like you just can't do stuff at the same time sometimes.
You're gonna be
There's no way
laid
to be
out. You're gonna be laid out. You're not gonna be able to sustain it. You're not gonna be able to maintain it. You got yourself laid out
you can't be
somewhere.
in two places at one time, like you just can't be at two
Mm-mm.
places at one time, so it's
Yeah.
not gonna work. But yeah, so I think that that is very important, just being intentional. And everybody's like on a journey, probably self discovery journey or self development journey, just to like learn themselves and different things like that. And I think that's actually where I'm going to with some of my content. I think I'm gonna do like self development and stuff like that because I feel like people are looking for that, but I guess they just don't really know how to get to that step or whatever.
Hmm.
And so I really like that. Like I like vision and goals and stuff like that. That's just off of a tangent, but I definitely think it's just like important because so many people are like, "What's my purpose? What's my why? Where can I go? Like, I don't know about this, I don't know about that." And when you just said it, you like, oh yeah, like I think I've heard that before, like a connector and stuff like that. And so it's just like wanting to be a resource to people. And still, well, that goes back to me because I'm just like, people, I can see that that's why I want to beat up. But I'm like, I don't even know what that job is, what that this is, but that could be anything. So whatever job I have, I'm always trying to connect people. You know, like how you saying
Hmm.
it could be this, it could be that. But that's who I am at the core. I'm a connector,
Hmm.
but that doesn't mean that I have like a connecting business or something like that. But it means like in my job, in my life, when I show up, like I'm a connector. Like I'm gonna try to get you to this person, help you find this
Yes,
person.
ma'am.
I'm gonna try to help you figure out how you can get to the next level.
Yes,
And so
ma'am.
I definitely think that's important so people can know what they do. And have you taken the Strengths Quest? The Strengths Finders Quest?
I did the disc assessments before. Don't ask me what I am off the top of my head because I don't remember.
Dang,
But
I was
I've
gonna ask
done
you if
some
you knew your
assessments. I'm
strengths
like, I do
quest.
not know off the top of my head, but I don't think I've done the strengths one. No.
Okay, okay. I took this one, yeah, because I like leadership too. Actually, I got my certificate in organizational leadership in grad school.
Hmm.
But I did leadership like in undergrad, so like that. And I took the test for leadership and the colors and different things like that or whatever. So I just wanted to see if you knew like your colors or anything like that, because I
Not
like
off.
doing like that. But didn't mean to put you on spot.
Hey, I told you I was gonna be really honest. I'm like, no, mm, I have not, but I
That's
will.
so fun.
I will for next time.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, we can talk about that. So I do like to ask this question, like, how has quarantine been for you? Like, have you been able to work on a lot of your projects? Have you been able to, I don't know, work from home or I know since you said you do speaking, like of course
Mhm.
that's like cut off or whatever. But I know like you said the coach and like the author and stuff. Have you been able to work more with clients? Like how has that journey been for you during this time?
Like you said before, and when I used the word, I've definitely, made the point to be intentional about what I do and what I'm working on. And so, yeah, I mean, I had speaking engagements lined up. I had some book signings lined up. And so, most of them, they've either canceled or they postponed to next year. None have went
Mm-hmm.
virtual. So, I could have easily been like, okay, well, I have nothing to do, but I decided to, be intentional about still showing up. So I'm still showing up on my social media every day. I'm showing up by reaching out to opportunities to be able to, you know, still do what I'm supposed to do, just may be able to online network and collaborate and connect and talk with somebody else's community. And so I've been
Mm-hmm.
intentional about doing that. That's how me and you were able to talk and connect and,
Most definitely.
collaborate. I've been able to do some online, summits and conferences that way. I have, and I'm like you, I write all the time. And so I'm mad at myself. I'm just going to be real with y'all because I'm supposed to be finishing like my fifth project and getting it to the editor. And this would be a great time, but I have not had the time to. I haven't made the time because it's an emotional project, and so I
Mm-hmm.
haven't made the time to really sit with everything that I know that's going to come out of it, and that's just me being honest. So I probably will, but I know it's going to bring out a lot, and so until I am ready to make that time to do it, it's on
Mm-hmm.
my list. But other things, y'all. I mean, you know, making time to work on stuff in the house that I done said I was going to get to
Neglected.
eventually. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. The hubby done called me out, so it was like, okay, I guess I got no choice. All right. So yeah. So, so some
Guess
of
I'm
them
gonna
little
do that.
projects, Yeah, some of them little projects have been getting worked on as well. So, just different things. And then, some new opportunities have come up. Like I said, being on podcast interviews, I'm in a mastermind that literally came up out of us all being out, and with COVID. So we got a mastermind started, got accountability group started. So,
I need to
just
join that.
different things.
I need
Different
the
things
mastermind
have
group.
been happening, and it's kind of, you kind of look at what do you need, and that's
Hmm.
the thing I've said to people, I think they're using the wrong word. It's not about being socially distant. We have to be physically distant, but we should not be being socially
Socially,
distant. Like, we should make it
yeah,
a point to be, socially present and
connected.
active despite, our physical presence and distance with each other. And so, if anything, that's what I've tried to do. And that's what I could, I would definitely tell anybody to do, make it a point to show up and to be present and to be sociable, whether it's through, huge platforms of virtual, meetings, and, everybody's, doing virtual DJ sessions, or if it's a
Yes, the
small,
concerts.
yeah, if it's a small virtual brunch, with friends, or, a table of 12 or table 18, or it's just, you know, meeting new people. Like, I know people still going on dates virtually. Like, don't put yourself in a box just because
Virtual
we are
dating.
we're required to be physically distant. We don't have to be
Mhm.
socially distant though. So, if anything, that's what I've been being conscious about and intentional about, and that's the same feedback and advice that I would give to anybody as well. Because as you work to be, socially conscious, socially present, you're able to still be intentional and unapologetic about your purpose. You just are doing it in a creative way. And so, if you can find a creative way to show up to be unapologetically you, I suggest and I challenge you to do that.
Yes, I love that. That's definitely good. That's true. They should be saying physically,
Hmm.
instead of socially. Like physically distance yourself 6 feet. Doesn't mean you
Yeah.
can't talk. Mean that you can't connect with people. And that's one thing too that I wanted to bring up, like the online thing, how I was talking in the beginning. Like, people rely so much on networking outside, and like they don't take that time online to do it. And
Hmm.
so it's like you can meet so many people. Like, say, I don't even know, say if I came to Texas, if I'm in your city, I might can hit you up because you've been on my podcast, because
Yeah.
we've talked. If I went to Texas and I never knew you, then I'm like, well, I don't know nobody in Texas. But
Hmm.
now you can know, you can meet people. And some people, sometimes, I know it gets crazy, like people you meet online and stuff like that. But if y'all have a certain type of goal, if y'all are even at even another event or something like that, or say you meet somebody on one of those brunch Zoom things or whatever, like you just don't know what the connection could be off of your
Absolutely.
online. People be getting married off of online, so I ain't hearing what nobody be saying. People be meeting their husbands, their wives, everybody online.
Yeah.
And
I
so I
mean, kind of like, literally, like you said, you never know what that one opportunity can bring. You never know by just opening the opportunity and building relationship, the community that can come out of it, the resources. We already know you about resources and the connections. So, who knows what I may need that you may have. And so that's what
Mhm.
it's about, because the reality is, our purpose isn't tied to our four no more, or tied to our physical presence, or tied to, like you said, Kentucky. Our purpose goes beyond that. And so when we realize that, we open the door for our purpose to be extended to where it's supposed to go and to get to the reach that it's supposed to be. And so,
Mhm.
just like you're giving me an opportunity to talk with everybody on Millennial Thoughts, I'm gonna be sharing it with my tribe, and folks gonna hear about Millennial Thoughts, and they gonna
Mhm.
hear about Alicia, and they gonna be like, she got resources. She know about that
Mhm.
travel. She know about, how we trying to do this adults. And so, like, you never know what each opportunity brings. But if you look at your purpose as just who you're tied to, you'll stay there. You'll stay stuck, because sometimes the people you tie to, they may not get you. They may not get your
Mhm.
purpose. They may not support it. They may not be there. But it's people that'll be thousands of miles away that want what you got, need what you got, and waiting for what you
Mhm.
got. So I'm just
Most
saying,
definitely.
gonna
Mhm.
get connected. Gonna get
Right.
connected.
And you can really drop the mic right there too. I know it's like, it's, yeah, people think it's like you are not confined to whatever city you are in. you can
Hmm.
reach the masses. You can reach the world, okay? And that's why everybody talking about they see me on social media. Well, I'm gonna keep pushing out this content because you on these social media sites, and I'm gonna keep putting myself out there because yes, like that's what we need to do. You need to connect, and I feel like this is a great time because everybody's on there trying to do this, trying to do that, and it's just like, come on, let's build these friendships, let's connect with people, let's do this networking thing. I've been networking forever. So I don't know. I just love it. I just love meeting people and talking to people. That's just naturally who I am. My friends are like, you never meet a stranger. So I'm like, yeah, okay. And so, yeah, so that's how I just feel about it. And I just want to thank you for reaching out and coming on this podcast. I like when people actually like, oh, yeah, can I come on? Because it makes it kind of easier for me so I don't have to go searching for people. And
Absolutely.
so
I've
I
enjoyed
love
it for
it when people
sure.
come on and just have a conversations and being able to reach people and talk to people. Um, and so I would like to ask you, you said you had 3 books. You talked about one. What was the other 2 books that you had out?
Yeah, so I actually have 6 books,
Oh,
but I
you have
have three.
6?
Yeah, so each book there's also a journal or a guide,
Oh.
or so it's
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So the next project is called My Things My Mama Said, and basically it's about love and life, the love of our mom, trying to teach us how to do life right and well. So it's 20 sayings, some stories behind those sayings, and then the life lessons we learned along the way. And then there's a third project called the Pro Series. It's a mini book, but basically it's reminding you that you are a pro at this thing called life. And the reason why is because there's provision in you to do the purpose that you're called to. So that's the third one. There's a fourth project coming out, Motivated Effort as well. Just remind you that it all starts with you. The motivated effort comes in and from and through you. So all of those books are online. They're at my website, shop.tanyajmiller.com. And if you sign up, because like she said, we're about connecting. So if you connect with me by joining my fam at bit.ly, all caps, join fam, you'll be able to get 20% off anything you buy. So I have books, journals, message merch. You know, I'm about a message tee and a message button and all of that message stickers. So, because I believe in reinforcing the messages that I talk about, I want you to be able to live, breathe, wear them, and represent. So that's all on my website. But the books are also on Amazon too. And I'm a Prime girl, so I won't be offended if you go on Amazon because they're in print, digital, and audio on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Audible has got like a 60 days that they're giving free. So go on and download the books, y'all, and read them because you could do it for free. I'm just saying. So they're
Let
on
them
there as
know.
well. So, and of course, I mentioned Talk with Tanya. That's my blog. So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And then since these are my millennials, I will let y'all know I have a mixtape. I'm not a rapper, but it is me doing what I do, which is talking over a pretty dope beat. And it's on all digital outlets called Talk with Tanya, the
Oh,
mixtape volume 1. So check me
okay,
out,
that's
connect with
cool.
me, TanyaJMiller.com, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely have enjoyed, just talking about purpose, talking about showing up, being authentic, talking about, figuring this thing out called life because we got to all do it. And why
Yeah.
not do it unapologetic on purpose?
Yes, I love that. Unapologetic on purpose. And that's what we're doing. And yeah, we all gotta live it. So we all gotta do it. So we just out here together. And y'all need to go follow her and go support her and all her things. And if you trying to figure out your purpose, let's figure it out. Let her
Absolutely.
help you figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I'm still trying to figure out mine. But yes, thank you so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your night. And enjoying your quarantine, and I very much appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys be safe and well.
Yes, you're welcome. Bye. Have a great day. Thank y'all for listening. Like, comment, and